Hello, hello! Welcome to the bonus video for Quest 64, also known as Eltale Monsters. This is the Japanese version of the game, and there's some slight differences between the two here. Now, one of the problems you could have seeing this game is that you might see all the Japanese text. Thankfully, this is a game that you can pretty much memorize what objectives you're doing anyway. Not like that there's an actual full evolving story, and in some cases you don't even need to know like what menu button presses there are in here. There are also other differences. One of the things you may have noticed already is the HUD here, the HP, MP, and the spirits numbers. They never disappear like they do in the English version, so you always know what your health is, what your MP is. It's a small change, but it could be more useful in a casual situation. So, one of the things here is that some of the treasure chests have been moved around. Like, that treasure chest contains these mint leaves instead of, I believe it's honey bread. I could be wrong about that. The other thing is that even though all the text is in Japanese, you can see, like, this first bread, it heals HP 50, and then the mint leaves do MP 20. You can also memorize, like, the symbols, I guess. They all have unique symbols. Unique icons, that's the word. Icons. So, and in cases where it's, like, the full heal, you know, it heals all HP, you'll see the HP in English, but nothing else. So, you'll get used to that. There's another thing as well. Or, actually, there's a couple things. They made it easier to gain all the stats here. Except for HP, I think. That's the only one that's kind of remains the same. But it's a little bit easier to get everything else. Whoop, hang on. Yes. Then we're going to do that. There's a slight now little animation whenever you get a spirit, either through level up or finding one in the field like that. You see the little selection screen fades up. It's just a nice way of not surprising you as much as it does in the other way. The other big change really is the first boss of the game, Slovring, something like that, and then the final boss of the game, Mammon. They both got some pretty decent changes to them. We'll go and show Slovring here pretty shortly here. Just gonna get all the stuff here. I'm trying to think. Oh, no, I know what I gotta go show. Okay, so, in case you need to rest at an inn for whatever reason, this is it, right? Nope, that's the item shop. But we probably want that. So, let me show you. So, you don't need to know menu selection, as I said earlier, right? So, you talk to the inn lady, right? All you have to do is press A every single time. It does the same thing. There's an old file there. Like, just that. You just keep hitting A. It'll save the game. You'll heal up. And just that. So, what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to go do all the stuff I normally would here, as I did in the English version, right? Get the spirits, get up there, whatnot. And then I'll show off how Slovring is a little bit different than usual. So I will see you all shortly. Okay, there, that's what I wanted to find. There is, one of the things they did was, anytime one of your stats goes up, there's a little audio cue, and then a colored sphere appears around Brian. The color tells you which stat went up. In this case, because it was brown, my defense went up. My health also did go up, and so it just kind of defaulted to just the defense went up color. But if your health goes up, a red sphere shows up. Brown, like that one, defense goes up. If you see a blue sphere, it means MP went up, and then a green sphere tells you that your agility went up. Now, the HP, the red and blue spheres aren't like as big of a thing because you can see when your HP and MP numbers go up. So, not really a big thing for that, but knowing when your defense and agility go up is actually quite nice. So, It's just, like, it was just a nice little feature they added. Alright, so, the other thing I forgot to mention here is you can see there's this red dot that's on the compass here. What that is, if you go over to the map screen, you can see next to that house there's this little quill thing. If you press A on the map, you can move this quill where you want. This is actually a really cool idea, but it is super sensitive here. It does not take much to move about on the map here. But you could be like, oh, I want to know where the forest entrance is. You just place it there, takes some work, and then you can follow that big red dot on your compass to know what's there. Casually, there's that green sphere popping up. Casually, it's actually a really good idea because you might see, like, as is often the case, like a spirit up on a cliff you can't reach on the current side, so you want to know how to get back there rather than trying to look at the map, memorize where you are, and all that jazz. Just a nice little feature they added to the Japanese version. Anyway, still trying to make my way to the forest. See you there shortly. Alright, so here we are at Slavering. One of the things you notice is that my stats are lower compared to what they should be in the English version, and that's perfectly acceptable, actually. I have plenty of safeties here for making sure I get through this fight, so that is not going to be really a problem here. I did want to mention, it wasn't caught on camera, but one of the things that can happen is that enemies can do a critical hit to you. It deals double the damage. The screen will actually flash very briefly, and then you'll see a red number above Brian's head. So, can't really manipulate it. Who knows, maybe Slavering will show us a crit from him here. You never know. Alright. So, I'm gonna first activate the Boots of Striding here. Whatever they're called. Giant's Boots, I believe. So one of the things you're going to notice is that the damage that Slavering deals is less than, much lower than what it should be for the English versions. It's effectively halved, is what I'm trying to say. We're going to try to manipulate him to go to that side of the arena that we're facing, basically. Just makes it a little bit closer to get that treasure chest up there after the battle. Normally I would train just a little bit more to hopefully where he's dealing like 9 damage instead. But we're playing a little risky here. Nice. Alright. I at least should have done a quick save on this. So that would have been nice. Alright, I gotta readjust the camera here. It'll always go towards the center, which is unfortunate. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright. Just, as you can see, I even gained a health point from this madness going on here. But this fight becomes just more about knowing when to heal up. And being careful that you don't get that rare critical hit chance. I actually don't know what affects critical chance, if it's like based on a stat or if it's just a random number all the time kind of deal. Alright, we want you to face this way at least. I do know, apparently I learned this, but like don't quote me on it, but someone told me that while there's always like a set chance for a spell to hit or whatnot, the higher in agility you have, the more likely you are to hit. And just put that all into that. Now, I'm gonna just hold it right here. So, defeating a boss, we got an HP boost like we did last time, but if you notice, we got a slight MP boost as well. I think that was like 5. And this happens now for every single boss. You get an MP boost and an HP boost. I think, because I think if I remember correctly, at the end of the English version we had like 27 MP. I'd have to look back on it, but you can compare the videos and see what the difference is here. But as you can see, Slavering was much easier to worry about. Didn't need as much health or defense or anything else of that nature to get through all that. And that's... all the other bosses are pretty much the same. Not really any different except for Mammon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just work my way towards Mammon, just do a straight shot all the way there, and I'll show you how much easier the end boss is, because it really is easier. So I will see you in about an hour from my point of view, so see you then. And welcome back, everybody. Here we are, the end of the world, Mammon's fake illusion-y world of death here. So as you can see, my MP is 93 at the end of this particular journey. It's not uncommon to have triple digits MP. I also have less spirits. I didn't go out and... The one thing I didn't do was go do the optional sand pyramid thing and grab those items there. Didn't really need to. Now with 207 health, there we go. 93 MP. Oh, I also, during the recording, during the time between the recordings here, I realized that some people are probably asking me, how do I know what spell I'm casting, because again, these are all, you know, it's in Japanese. You might see it in the center of the screen. Each selection that I make on the D-pad, or, well, for me it's a D-pad, I have to do it that way, but on the C buttons, excuse me, every time I push a button input, it shows me what input I have according to the elements. So, earth is left, right? If I push on the right, it shows me wind, and then up is air, right? An avalanche, like, all the spells that you need to memorize are all the same, like, so that's avalanche, right? I meant to do barrier, magic barrier, but I was sort of lost in the moment there. Here we go, so that's always magic barrier, and then we just keep doing avalanche. Whoops. As you can see, I knew immediately that wasn't correct. At least, I don't think that was correct. It's possible that that was the second way to get avalanche. So here's the thing also with magic barrier. Oh, no. So, a couple things we have to explain. If you've been noticing the damage that I've been dealing to Mammon, it's been in the hundreds. In the English version, Mammon didn't actually have an element, and so what the game did was it just halved all damage done to Mammon, except for your staff attacks, I believe. In this one, they basically gave him an element, so now he takes full damage from spells, which makes it that much easier. Magic Barrier, on average, lasts longer. Like, I think in the English, it can last from 1 to 4 turns, meaning turn 1 is when you cast it, turn 4 is the max. Here, I believe it's 2 to 6 turns is the typical range you can get with Magic Barrier. Yeah, there's 129 there. Oops, there we go. Yep, this is fine. Yep, our agility is quite low, so we're getting quite a good number of misses here. Whoa, there was that. So that was... what that was 3 critical hits just happened. And that's no bueno there. But that's what a critical looks like. There's red numbers, screen flashes. That was quite impressive. So we're going to just do a quick heal up here. Normally, I would try to do that during Magic Barrier, but I feel like I can take it. We'll just do another Magic Barrier here. And chances were he wasn't going to do the other insane fire attack that happened. Yeah, there's a couple 130s there, so this is pretty good. Come on. Something... I dropped something. I don't know what it is. So... oh, I was not paying attention at all. That barrier went down super quick. So we'll do... I know he must be close to figuring out to being dead, but we're just gonna play it safe here. It was a little bit of a bumpy ride to get to this state. With all these misses, there we go. Okay, so that's the end. considerably shorter compared to the English version. And like you saw, there was a lot of items I had, especially the MP items. uh Typically speaking, in the Japanese version, I don't need HP items as much because the defense tends to go up faster than anything else. The other thing that gets that's new to the Japanese version here is that there's actually these cutscenes. You can see Brian's dad, the Leo guy we met in the tower for some reason. So this is all, of course, all in Japanese, but it's basically just all the people just, you know, being like, oh, our lives are fine. I will put a link in the description. Somebody did do a fan translation of what all this ending is about, so you can take a look at that if you're interested. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I think I nailed most of the differences. I don't claim to be a master knowledgeable guy of Quest 64, but I figured there's probably a good chunk of people who don't know about the Japanese version of the game. And honestly, quite honestly, I think is the word I'm trying to use here. But if you wanted to play Quest 64 casually, I would say the Japanese version is the way to go. Oh, there's Brian. So we're okay, in case anyone was confused by the ending to the English version of Quest 64. Apparently we're okay in this game. So, but yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, no, the Japanese version is easier than the English version of the game. Just kind of in every single way, but mostly from a casual point of view. It treats you easier, and it's a little more balanced to how the game should be. But that's it for me. That is the end of the Quest 64 line for me here. I've got my next project to replace this coming up here, so I will be working on that. Thank you for watching. I hope you all have a good day. Take care.